Good evening and happy Monday, and welcome to State of the Union on the Culture Shifts Media Network. I'm your host, Kevin Kimble, founder and CEO of the Financial Services Innovation Coalition. I'm also the executive director of the Southern Christian Leadership Global Policy Initiative. And tonight I'm very fortunate, we're all very fortunate to have a chance to talk to Ms. Angela Gore-Curry from Arise Educational Services. Uh, I'll let her do a little bit about her background, but she's an educator extraordinaire doing a lot of good work in the community. And we're going to spend the next hour talking about education processes and policies that we need to, we're always talking about advocacy and we're getting the government to do more stuff. So before I jump into the conversation, there's a short video I want to play, which I think kind of highlights this conversation. So Tracy, if you could run that video real quick.
Score for me.
She wore a suit, clothes that were. Who's this for? Extraordinary, but somewhat Gertrude?
Now explain what that means.
I don't know.
She wore a sahalat of clothes that were extraordinary, whatever, bro, but somewhat gooch.
What does that mean?
She wore a lot. Wait, she wore, bro. I don't know, bro. Can you take the card back, please?
She wore a. Oh, baby. She wore a silhouette of clothes that were. Bitch, I don't know that word. I don't even know how to read. I don't know why I did.
She wore a silhouette of clothes that were extraordinary, but somewhat gauche.
All right, now what does that mean?
I have no idea. Like his clothes is nice or something like that.
She wore a. I don't know what this should say. I don't know what this should say. I don't know what this should say. I can't read it. Can't read it. Can't read it. Cancel back.
So, we show that not to shame anybody or to make a point, but the point was the data's come back that, a lot of kids in the low LMI weren't learning. And these kids are in school, so it's not like they weren't in school. They were in school. And Angela, we're going to have a long conversation. I've talked to a couple of educators about that. There's some of this was COVID related. There's a lot of kids missing, but some of it is structural. It's been coming on for a while. As I told you beforehand, we had done a program in North Carolina workforce, and the kids who were graduating from high school weren't able to complete a ninth grade curriculum for this program. So we had to do a lot of supplemental. What are you finding? You work at a lot of schools. You've been doing this, tell us about, what do you think?
I just think that there definitely needs to be more attention, especially in our neighborhoods, people who look like us. You saw all of those students were African American. Yeah. And I mean, it was hurting my heart just to watch. Yeah. I think we really have to get back to the basics. And most schools have implemented the science of reading, which is a phonic-based program. Mm-hmm. But I mean, we all need to play a part. Churches. Yeah. I've reached out to churches and asked, could I come in and do reading on a program on a weekend? Nobody was interested.
Tell me about your program. We haven't done. Tell the audience about the program you created and that you implement in the places you actually do, because I know you do some school work.
Yeah, so I have a program and it's called Literacy in Motion. And so what it involves is reading comprehension, vocabulary, and then I infuse it with movement. A lot of children just cannot sit still and hear a story. But if they actually act out the characters, then like an intrinsic thing. And so they can remember the information because they were moving, they actually acted it out, participated in the story themselves.
Yeah. No, and so you do this, like you have contracts with schools, like you're a partner of the school district?
I do. And I'm currently working on a program with Alexandria Public Library. I'm crossing my fingers that I'll be in DC Public Library in MLK very, very soon, hopefully this summer. And I'm currently with Apple Tree.
So how did we get to that place? Because, I don't blame the kids, right? I mean, those kids are at school. So, they're showing up to school every day. So it's not, if they're not learning, it's not their fault, right? I mean, this is coming upon us. What have we been doing wrong? Because you said it takes all of us, or all of us, like you mentioned, churches. We have a whole another conversation about churches and community engagement. But what happened? Where did we go wrong with this?
I think of the inequity in our system. So I would start with the schools, actually, because I know within DC, at the most neediest schools, they would only have one of me. But at the schools that were more affluent, there would be 3 reading specialists. And I just could not ever understand how that could be. Where the greatest need is, there is the least
amount of
the least amount. Right. So I would really hold the mirror up to the school system for sure. There are some schools that are in the most neediest that had none of me.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a real concern. And a principal of one of the schools that was very needy, I said, well, I taught yoga there. I said, well, I'm also a reading specialist. Let me pull more groups. I did pull some. And then it was said that, well, the classroom teachers, but that a classroom teacher cannot pull groups and provide the educational benefits that I can, because I'm trained in it.
Yeah.
So it's not on the teachers, it's on the school system to find more funding to bring in reading specialists to ensure that every student has equal footing in education.
Have you found so there's one of our colleagues lives in Columbia, Missouri, and they're working on creating their own charter school. Do you find that the charter school structure is more advantageous for the creativity need, or to bring in the programs, or is it just a matter of willpower in the public school system? Or do we need to create a special space for someone like you, someone to be creative enough to use someone like you?
I really can't speak to the charter schools. I've only really been in the public school systems. However, there's always a shift. When I first came to DC, it was reading. So there were tons of me everywhere because that was the focus. When the last few years has been math. So I think it needs to be reading and math always. And that we need to be at every school, there needs to be a reading specialist and a math interventionist as well. And that just needs to be mandatory across the board. Every school gets at least one. They do that with the library system. Well, then they got rid of that as well. But it should be mandatory, because it's something you just can't get in the classroom. You just can't get it.
That was one of the things we've been focusing on in our education policy task force is additional help. Tutoring. Like tutoring is we're big believers in tutoring. So because you can only learn so much during the school day. I mean, there's only so many hours in a day, and you've got to cover. So people need, like, all the most affluent kids, to your point, get outside help.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How many hours a week do you think it takes to adequately bring up to bring a student up? Like, these kids are older. The older kids we just saw in a video, I'm worried about them, but I know that that's a remedial process that's going to take longer. But if I started at kindergarten, how many extra hours a week of activity would I need to have for, like, reading and math to help kids be up to grade level?
It depends on where your weaknesses are. Some have greater weaknesses, less. I've seen kids be able to turn it around and not even need me after 10 or 15 weeks. Okay. Never need me again. So it depends on the need. What I do know as far as timelines is if I see you every day for at least 30 minutes, that is significant. It can't be every other day, 2 days a week. The research shows if you are in an intervention every day for 30 minutes, you will see the success.
Interesting. So 30 minutes a day,
at least,
day in and day out, 5 days a week, 30 per subject. So 30 minutes for reading and 30 minutes for math.
Yep. If you have a deficiency.
Yeah. Well, what if you So is it beneficial even if you don't have a deficiency to have that extra work, like to help you excel? I mean, is it that's still useful for someone like to go to the next level, or is there a different program you would create for someone?
That's a good point. Yes, there's a different program because I've taught gifted and talented. So you
Mhm.
got the basics. So now we can go deeper.
Mhm.
There's a program that I use it at a gifted and talented school in Prince George's County called Junior Grade Books.
Yeah.
So that was more of a round table discussion
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
focusing on the story, getting more in depth with the story because you have the skills. Now
Yeah.
let's broaden your horizons and take your skills a little further and a little more broader.
Um, yeah, because we're really, I do believe that all kids could benefit. Basically,
Yeah.
what I've seen from some sort of extra. I mean, if you've got the basics, then we should take you to the next level. So that would help with the. So it's not just about remedial, but it's
Mm.
about accentuating your skill sets.
Right. And it's so amazing to see the gifted and talented just fly with it. Just
Right.
take it
Right.
to the next level. The Syncretic Seminar, we're talking, we're discussing, and it's so amazing to see the most shy, quiet, like come out with something amazing. There was
Right.
one lesson, and this girl, I never even heard her voice, I swear. And she said, and I hadn't thought of it, read the story a million times.
Hmm.
Well, the soldiers were able to capture them because we were all like, what?
What have you been doing? Who you been talking to?
Right, but it's in there,
Yeah.
but they have never had the opportunity to share.
Yeah.
Right. So I do believe that the gifted and talented, the more advanced, they need supplemental too. Because it's one thing to read about a book, it's another one to discuss it and have those in-depth conversations.
Would one of the things you know we talk about policy wise is that Trump is where everyone says Trump, 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 and then clearly he's not been good for the country. Get that, but our kids were suffering before he ever came along, and the Department of Education, like he got rid of the Department of Education and made major cuts, but based on the videos and the school, it wasn't helping our kids anyway, right?
Mm-mm.
If you could start from scratch, or not even, we can't start from scratch. So, but what's the future like? Like we're trying to always think, okay, the destruction's happened. What's the rebuild look like? Like, what do we need to, like, if we were going to go on Capitol Hill Day or write a policy proposal, what would you say needs to be in there that could, address this from the most basic, like what rules should we put in place, or like should it be the funding like what you're talking about, the poor schools there's only one teacher, the richest schools there are three specialists, like how do we should we change the law, or I mean what needs to happen to make that work? But I hope that was
Um,
articulate.
yeah, there's a variety of things. Funding for
Mhm.
sure.
Mhm.
Mandates.
Uh-huh.
And I think one of the biggest mandates is if you can't read, and there's some states that are doing that, you can't move on.
Right.
If you can't read, we're going to fix this. You're going to stay there.
How do we so just so the kid, I mean, because that's punishing the kid to a certain degree, and how do we make it so that we're not punishing the kids? I mean, all the adults in the room, what why is it the kid who has to pay the price for them failing to do their job?
I hear what you're saying, but I think that if there is no repercussions for it, nobody will do anything.
Yeah.
I think the parents would be more involved, like, hey, we got to make sure you pass.
Yeah.
I think the teachers would be more vigilant, and I think that they would get those reading specialists or math specialists in those buildings where it's needed. I just think it holds everybody's feet to the fire.
There was I guess back when Bush came up with his education proposal back in the day. So there was all these tests, no child left behind, all these like standardized testing, and so they started teaching kids to the test, so they really weren't learning. Do you think that was more problematic? Did it create more problems than it solved?
In some regard, yes, but then in some regards, no, because at least we had the information and we could pinpoint where the areas of strength were and where the areas of weakness were.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
And there were some parts of No Child Left Behind that I thought, where everyone is supposed to be on the same thing. If you move from Texas to New York, where everybody's supposed to be on. And there were some parts of that to me as an educator were beneficial. The Jabberwocky.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are reading the Jabberwocky. I'm like, what? My kids read the Jabberwocky and could recite it, but for an inner city kid,
Right.
so there were some parts that were good, some parts that were bad. But the teaching to the test, absolutely not. And schools, I've seen it be done, which is sad.
No, we just definitely noticed there's we always say if you're a superior student, like if you're STEM, whatever you want to call it, there's a lot of people there to help you. There's a lot of investment. If you're a troubled kid, there's something to keep you from staying out of trouble, not necessarily becoming. But if you're just a average kid, like a B- to C- student, there's very little investment in your future.
Mm-hmm. And so that's why those different things help you to elevate. You're like, wait a minute, and you might find something that you like. Yeah.
What do you think about the fact that there aren't like music programs in schools anymore?
That's sad. And art, so sad.
Yeah.
And all of those things for maybe that middle of the road student is their way to the next level.
Yeah.
So the educational system definitely needs a good looking over. And finding what works, especially for our children. What's the best fit for us?
Yeah. I do think we don't give people enough. One of the things we notice, like because they don't have, auto mechanic or any of those things. If you're not like, there's very few options for kids. Like the school system become very, very narrow. And let me ask you this question because that's something I wondered out loud a couple of times. They stripped all this stuff out of the curriculum. Like music and art, but the days seem to get longer. So what were they doing with all the time?
That's a good question. Some of it is they did increase the reading block. It's like 120 hours or something. Yeah. But here's the thing that people don't realize: a lot of that time is spent on the computer.
Okay, doing what? Like just like playing, like gamifying.
So a lot of schools, they'll have reading class for that 120 hours. But then the intervention, instead of using an actual person, they use programs to review the things that were already taught in class. So they use computer programs as the intervention.
And so the computers aren't as successful, aren't as efficient or effective. Is that a problem?
Well, a lot of times you'll look on the computer and you'll see that they switched from what they were supposed to be doing. They're on something else.
Okay.
Okay. And I've even brought in one of those systems in the school because I knew it was a big school. And I thought it would be beneficial. So I go around and see how my program that I asked you to purchase is doing. And then I would find that they've switched to something else.
So what was so expand on that a little bit, because everyone thinks technology is like, AI and technology is going to solve a whole bunch of these problems, but clearly people were working from home or doing homeschooling, or during COVID, that didn't, having everything on computer didn't seem to be effective. So talk about what's missing there, because it does seem to be like everyone wants to automate all the time, and it doesn't seem to be the most effective.
I mean, I think there is a place, because like I said, I asked them to buy it. I thought there was a place for it, and I think there still is a place for it, but it has to be monitored, just like anything else. It has to be heavily monitored, and I think that we are using it too much, really, in the place of a human being.
Yeah, that's interesting. So back to ways in which, so say it's Angela Gore's School for Wayward Children. What would be your school day? What would your school day look like for your students? Let's start with kindergartners.
Okay, so you walk in the door and there's a nice soothing music playing. It's sweet smelling. It's like a spa, but it's a school spa.
I want to go. I want to go to that kindergarten. Can I go? Can I sign up?
Yeah. The kids already like, oh, you smell good. So I already like have the little scent with me. But we would start with greeting them, like a warm looking in your eye, good morning, and saying your name. And we're so glad to see you today. We're so glad you showed up. And then just activities that you're interested in. You have a little botany center and little yoga mats. Really making it feel child center, honestly, that you belong here, we want you here, and we're excited to have you here. And just constant affirmations of who you are, representation of you. I think children get so excited when they see people who look like them, right? And whatever color you may be, but having a rainbow of teachers to teach our rainbow of children too. So just warm and inviting, exciting.
So that's just kindergarten. So not heavy on academics at that point. You're not super worried about reading or fundamentals at that point.
But I am. Yeah, I had a group of kindergartners this year, and it was so funny. One little girl would just cut up, and then she started getting it. And she said, I'm getting it.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. You see, you stop cutting up.
You start focusing.
You start focusing. But I had to find something she was interested in. It would be very tactile. That age group is very tactile. I had them do their letters, write their name, and then gradually introduce a little bit more. And they get so excited. I read that. I'm like, yeah, you read that.
So how many weeks was that program? How many weeks was that?
How many weeks is that? 10 to 15.
In 30 minutes a day with each kid, or
30 minutes a day. But that was my strongest group. And you know why? They came every day.
Okay. So every day was a bit more important that they come every day than longer on a few days.
Right. So it's just consistency. That group was, and people were like, oh, I know that group is strong. That was my strongest group because they were never absent. No one was ever absent. One girl, she was sick as can be. And I said, I'm going to take you to the nurse. No.
You want to stay in class?
I want to stay in class. I mean, because I had a source. I mean, you could see it. She was sick. I had got strep throat because she's there every day. And, and then I said, can I take you now once class was over? And she said, yeah, you can take me now. Yeah. I mean, kids are thirsty. They're hungry for it. Yeah. They want it.
I do think the kids, we're too easy. When adults fail, it's too easy to blame the kids for their failure instead of thinking that I'm the one who didn't do what needed to be done. And I do think that, the passion, the passion has to be there. We do hire too many people who don't have a passion for the work. All right. So then walk me through 5th grade.
Ooh, now we're having discussions. We're talking. And I love project-based learning. So project-based learning is where you read something and then you do a project based on whatever you read. One of my famous ones, which they're still doing it at a school, the Gifted and Talented School, is The Secret Garden. And it was amazing how the students took it and made that story their own. Of course, I had like criteria of what they had to have, but it was interesting to see what perspective boys took from it. Because, it's pretty much centered. The main character is a girl. But the boys were able to find their voice in the story, too. And their projects represented it. It was just amazing to see. They had tea because the girl had moved to London. And the tea, someone actually put a jump rope on their board. So they had to do a board. And I forgot the criteria from the story. And then they had to present it. So we've got the reading, the writing, and then the oratory perspective of it too. So you've got to get up and tell me, what did you do? And you had to defend it. If I gave you a grade, you had to defend your grade. Nope, wait, Miss Gore-Curry, I had this here, and and this is the reason why I put this there. So this is preparing you for the real world.
Right.
Your boss gives you a project, you got to make something of it. Then you've got to present it, and you've got to defend it.
So then, okay, so we're fifth grade. Let's move to eighth grade. Let's do junior high. So
I never taught junior high.
you
I'm
never
only
had.
no,
Would you
I'm
tap that as
elementary.
six? Your elementary school child? Okay.
I tap
Well,
out
so
if
all right. So here, so and maybe you can't do this because you've never done. But what would in your imagination? What would that curriculum? What would that day look like? That you're just and you maybe don't. Maybe it's too hard to imagine if you've never had the
I
experience.
know I didn't even learn it at school. I'm sure it would be pretty much more real world, like
Okay.
how real I would expect, more independence.
Mhm.
You're not sitting at a table with me. I think I would lecture. I guess I'm thinking college.
Right.
I really don't. I've never taught eighth
Fair
grade.
enough. For your fifth grade, your elementary, when they had to do the standardized test, were their scores higher than the one? Could you tell the difference between their performance before the 10 or 15 weeks with you and after?
Yeah. Well, the one where that was an actual whole class. I was in the classroom then. But yeah, because you know what? The thing about learning is we're teaching them to think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
Oh,
can't A test can't show that you know how to think.
yeah,
And that's our whole goal is you to be an independent thinker. Not to pass this test, but to think.
yeah. Um, so then, how much time, like, do you spend, like, like we always tell people, like, in order for us to be helpful, in order for us to engage with our community, it takes a lot. Like, how long have you been in this space doing, like, trying to, like, selling your program or trying to be, getting grants or doing that? How long have you been in the business?
The Arise business or education a million years. Arise
Okay.
is Arise
Yeah,
was
look, they
born.
over 500,000, so that's good.
Thank you. Arise was born during COVID.
Okay.
I was training to be a yoga teacher, and I was online being a reading specialist. So I would marry the two. On our breaks, we would do yoga, and I found that not only did the kids respond, the parents were in the background doing it too.
Really? Okay.
And so I said, so, give me a thumbs up if you feel calmer, or give me a thumbs up if you feel more relaxed. And this parent popped out and was like, I do. So I was like, there we go. It is Arise. I got it. I figured it out.
You're paying financial.
And honestly, it was before that I would use it in my classroom. I was going through a lot of stress. I had teenage children, my husband's health, and I would have Tibetan singing bells playing in my room where I would take my reading kids, my diffuser with the beautiful lavender scent floating through the air, dim light. It was for me. It was just for me. But the kids would respond to it. Teachers would start sending what we call high flyers to my room. One little boy would pick up my phone and go right to the Tibetan bowl singing app.
Right.
So we're all searching for that peace and that calm. So I thought it was just for me, but it wasn't. And then I saw diffusers popping up all over the school. The other teachers were noticing that it was calming and soothing to their students, and they were using it. I did a podcast with one of my teachers, and she said, we all started buying diffusers after we smelled yours whiffing down the hall. And I was like, oh my God. I didn't really notice that they were doing it after me, but she told me. I was like, oh, okay, I'm glad I made a difference. And she said, even just your calming, soothing, my being. She's like, we all sort of like, wait a minute, this is working. Whatever she's to do it to.
Right.
So,
do you think that talk about the alternative or I guess ethereal functional way, the way you think about these things? Do you think that could be missing? Like, are the people who get an education just so structured they can't? Like, you come from a yoga and other, or you learn to do yoga, but are you, like, the spiritual nature of your program? Yeah, how do we extend that? Because it seems like more people having a diffuser is a simple solution. Like it seemed like everyone would gravitate towards something that simple, but like everybody's resistant to change.
Well, no, because like I said, the other teachers started. I think once you see it and you see the results of it, then you're like, wait a minute, she's got something. And there's twofolds to why they also thought she's got something. In DC, you get a thing called we have a thing called impact, and every year you're rated, and you can be effective or you can be highly effective. So that was another thing they saw. It really is working because she's always highly effective. So she must have the secret sauce. And there is a program called Breathe Through Change, which is teaching educators to use these strategies that I'm using within the classroom. Yeah. So everyone's finding the research. I think I sent Brady an article. I don't know if I sent it to you about how SEL is improving test scores. It was in the NEA. So they're saying that social emotional learning helps to improve those test scores that people are trying to teach to. It's the same thing. If I'm calm, I'm relaxed, and you've taught me how to think, I'm going to be successful.
So do you ever, I mean, I know you go into schools, but is there a place where educators share these ideas? Like, or have you thought about creating a program like that? I mean, it's interesting. Again, some of these things seem like putting on calming music and a diffuser in some of these tougher schools seems like it would be just such a easy jump off point just to set the mood, or the way you discuss setting the mood. Is there maybe that should be one of the things that gets into the curriculum, the thing we talk about when we're talking about policy, like, setting aside resources or standards for that kind of stuff, because it does seem that innovation is not being shared as much as it could be.
Right. So there is a thing that everyone says they're doing in schools and that they have it in for schools. It's called the SEL, which I was referring to, the social emotional learning. Yeah. And there's tons of schools that are like, oh, we have it. And it's just a corner when, you're stressed out, you go in a little corner and you play with the fidgety, and then you're ready to come back. It's more than that. I mean, the teacher has to embody the principles themselves. So I think, I definitely think there is a place to teach teachers how to embody social emotional learning. It's not just something I send you to the corner to do. It's not some breathing exercise. Because I go into schools and I'm like, oh, we breathe all the time. Yeah, it's not the same.
Not the same.
It's not the same. Yeah. Because I do it with the students that I tutor. You're flustered. I see you're flustered. Let's take a moment. Yeah. I mean, it's picking up on cues, and it's really teaching social emotional awareness. Are you getting flustered? What can you do? Oh, okay. You're going to breathe. Okay. I'll wait till you finish your breathing. Yeah. So it's more than just words. Oh yeah, we do social. It's an embodiment of the whole principle, the whole entire idea to ensure that your classroom is calm. And it starts with you. Teachers aren't calm. Because like
they're people. They're agitated.
Yeah. Like I knew that I could not come in dysregulated how I felt in the car into the space. Yeah. So I put on the diffuser. I listened to the debate bell.
Those for you, right? More for you than those for other people.
It was all for me because I can't show up my best all frazzled.
Yeah. So let me ask you, the kids we saw in that video at the beginning, if I were to say, Angela, go help them, what would be your approach?
I'd run. I'd be like, yes. Because I wanted to jump through there. I'm like, it's silhouette. Let's break it into syllables. Silhouette, first, I would have to test them, I'd have to find out where they are. But the first thing with someone who's older is to establish trust. That's it. Once I've got your trust, I'm not going to snicker when you say silhouette. I don't even know what they were saying. I'm here to help you. Yeah. And I want to see you succeed. I want to see you successful. Let's take this journey together to get you to where I know that you can be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those relationships.
Yeah. It was, it is one of those things where you like, these kids are, I mean, they're there, and the adults are all failing them. I mean, even at that moment, they're all failing them.
Right. And I think it's that adults need after school yoga or somewhere to, I mean, you see it in other companies. You see there's gyms in the place. There's kombucha machines.
That's right. Ping
Why not?
pong tables, yeah.
Right. Foosball. Why not in education do teachers have a place to go? Also, what I did, I walked. I would listen to podcasts and walk on my break because I knew I couldn't show up that Angela to teach those kids who were struggling readers. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, so, and I don't know, I guess I'm asking a big question, but it seems like, the approach to this problem is both the students, but it is the educators. We failed our educators. Our educators are not getting what they need to be effective. Because we can't have this number where the numbers eventually don't lie, right? I mean, and the results don't lie. So if the kids are failing, it's because the teachers are failing. And we got to figure out how the teachers are failing the kids in order to make this all kind of go together.
But I mean, I wouldn't even just all leave it at the teacher's door. Like I said, there's too much inequity in our system.
Yeah.
Even the supplies that I can't tell you how many books that I bought myself.
Yeah.
Well,
then let me ask you this question.
I bought a whole reading system myself.
So then that actually brings up a bigger question. With the lack of resources, you seem to have an approach. Is it that you're, like you said, you're, what's it called, extra successful? I forget the term you use when they rate you.
Highly effective.
Highly. So is it that someone like you could figure out a way to circumvent the lack of resources and other people or supplies and other people can't? I mean,
No, I purchased it myself.
Yeah.
So I have a friend now. I was real sneaky. I hope nobody's really listening. I said I needed 2 books. I needed one for home and one for the office. And she's in another school system. I gave her the other book.
Oh, wow.
So
secret safe with all of us. You never listen.
I know who's listening, but I mean, it's for the greater good. I mean, that's what teachers do. We rob Peter or pay Paul. I don't know, but we find a way to make it work. But the resources are being spent on a lot of systems on things where they should not be spent.
Again, so let's go down that path a little bit. Like, so what's wrong with tell us what's wrong with the budget? Like, where's the misallocation of the resources?
I mean, from the top, I mean, some of the, superintendent salaries and things, that could be spent on resources to do a better job. I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, I brought my own Elmo, and I mean, I can't tell you what I have not bought, and that should just be mandatory, standard. Right. I bought a whole reading system.
You think there's too much overhead in the system?
Yeah, they have coaches that come out to coach, and why does the coach need a coach? And then even as a reading specialist, I had a coach that coached me, and she had a coach too. But why are you coaching me when you don't have the same degrees and things that I have?
Right.
What are we doing?
How'd you get this contract? Whose brother-in-law gave you this contract?
Right. It's too much. It's too much at the top, and there's not enough resources, and there's just not the equity in the system. No equity.
Stay system-wide. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. This is interesting. A couple more questions, and then we may have to have you back again. This is really interesting. What if I were to say, Angela, go to this school that's failing, because there are a lot of them. I can pick anyone. This is the school. you walk in and you're not going to be teaching every day. You're just in charge. You're the superintendent of the school or principal. I don't know. You're the boss. What do you start doing what do you start doing? What's your, your first 5 executive orders?
I would have to first is that you always just assess,
Mm.
see where the greatest need is, right? But the first stop, I think, would be in the supply closet. Like, what supplies and materials do we have in order to make an impact, to teach these kids and be successful? What do we have? And I would do a survey. I would ask the teachers, and I've done that as a literacy coach. What do you all think you need? Where's your greatest need?
Now, will most schools already have a literacy teacher? Will they have a reading teacher? Most of them won't, right?
No. So at one school, I'm a literacy coach, but there's no reading specialist. So I'm just keep trying to tell the teachers, do better, do better, do better.
Right.
But you've got a kid that can't even write their name.
Right. What grade is this? Like, what grade are we in?
I mean, this is the whole school. I was a coach.
Right.
And I would try to pull groups, but I'm supposed to be coaching the teachers to do better, pass the test.
What's holding the teachers back from being better? Is it resources? Is it a mindset? I mean, because you can only do them. So we have to, like, you were able to accomplish some of these things. Why can't they emulate what you're doing? What's missing?
But remember, I only have like 4 or 5 kids in a group. I'm a reading, so I'm pulling out.
Okay.
But you're now those same kids go back
to the school, to class. Okay. So this teacher's got 30 kids she's trying to teach, so she can't do that project. She can't help.
No, and they say, well, differentiate. Well, you can, but it's really hard when you only can write K, and that's just the first letter of your name, and you're in 2nd grade. And then I can read the encyclopedia. Like,
right. Yeah. You can't deal. So how did we get to that place where that disparity exists in that classroom? I mean, how do we get to a 2nd grader not being able to spell their name? I mean, what went wrong between 3 years old and 6 years old or 5 years old? 7 years old.
That's a lot of factors, but how did we all get dumped here? One, we passed you but even though you could only put a K, we moved you on. And then 2, we said that we long time ago was like, this is the slow, this is the medium. You can't do that anymore.
Oh, so they don't break classes up anymore. Okay.
So now they expect teachers to differentiate based on ability within that class.
Does that make sense?
No, not without help. You would definitely have to have like 2 teachers, and then one teacher could pull the group to who was lower, and then the other one pull, and then keep.
So that brings me back to something you said earlier, like about not passing the kids who couldn't, right? So if I'm the kid who only can spell the K, is it really any value in having me stay in 2nd grade again when I didn't learn how to do? I mean, there's no one could teach me how to spell my name for the first 5 years. I mean, it seems like just how I'll be in 2nd grade till I'm 20 if I'm not at that level.
Well, we hope you're going to get me the next year. And
well, that's hopeful. That's hopeful. I mean, not we're rolling the dice, but I mean, like there's that process is kind of complicated.
Yeah, I mean, but there are some who it is sometimes the teacher, the environment, the field, and they're just shut down. Like, I don't like her, and she doesn't like me. And there's oh God, what is that speaker's name? We had to watch it many months, many times every school year. I forgot her name, and she said kids don't learn from somebody they don't like.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
And so and then there's testing.
Yeah.
And then we, next year, if you still only on K, we're gonna test you and find out what is maybe you do. Yeah, maybe you got a little problem there, and we'll figure it out and we'll work through it.
Yeah. Because I'm like, I mean, it seems like to me that if one teacher's got to teach 30 kids who are different abilities, that process doesn't get better. Either the kid through osmosis becomes better, or the thing just keeps. He just ends up dropping out of school at 8 years old because he's not getting anywhere. He's the oldest kid in second grade, and
Right.
that doesn't mean okay.
And the school systems that are mandating, I believe it's Texas, they are giving you a chance. Like I think you can't move on from third, or it's not like we're going to hold you back every year. But
Yeah.
if you haven't gotten it by, but hopefully if you haven't, I forget what grade they're doing. I think I want to say third, or fifth. If you haven't gotten it by then, and we haven't tested you, we haven't put you in programs, we haven't put you in interventions,
Mhm.
and you still haven't, then we got to look harder. So they
What
give you, it's not every year they hold you, they give you a chance.
would it make sense that these kids would go to summer school every summer or have some program? I mean, is there a way that like for the kid who's like for the kids in that that you're talking about, it seems like he or she would be able to have you have or the teacher would, I mean, I don't think they can pay overtime to the teacher, but she would spend 6 weeks during the summer helping
Yeah,
helping
and
that
that's
kid
what they
learn.
do. Yeah, those kids who are on the verge of not passing, they go to summer school for sure.
Okay.
That's mandatory in DC anyway. They have to go to summer school.
Now, so here's the $1 million question. I guess the $1 million question is it, because the rumor, the common perception is DC schools aren't performing any better than anyone else. So with all the rules in DC, are they making a difference? Have they figured out a way to make a difference, or are they still struggling mightily?
No, the research says, or the data that's coming out is that they're like one of the fastest growing and most improving systems in the country for that, for their demographic, the inner city schools. They're one of the ones that is moving at a most accelerated rate.
Now, is that the LMI, like the African American kids are moving up, or is it because they're gentrifying and they're bringing in the population of another group is growing?
I don't know. I'm not sure, but I just the broad overall. If you look on their website, we're the fastest growing, and there are some fantastic things that are going on in DC. Unfortunately, a lot of those fantastic things are not happening in our community.
That's what I was wondering if that was gonna be I know that a lot of the gentrifications cause the population shifts to be different. So I was wondering if the kids in the Ward 8 were having growth in their performance or not.
I mean, some, but a lot of Ward 8 schools do not have a reading specialist.
But just back to our point, like, how do you end up with, in the city with a black mayor and a black? It's one of the things we talk about a lot on the show with our groups, that we don't expect much out of our black elected officials to help our black kids. And so that's a real interest. So yeah, I would imagine, that should be in some sort of assessment of that you'd be in this DC and the Ward 8 and Ward 7 schools don't have reading instructors.
And a lot of it is up to the principals too. It's up to their discretion. They get a budget and they can decide what they want to put in their budget and what they don't.
So should it be mandatory that if you're in a school and that you have to, I mean, that whatever your budget is, there are a couple of things that are required, which is a reading instructor is definitely required.
Right. And so my first few years in DC, you had to have a reading specialist and you had to have a math, and you did, and they did. And then people slowly started taking it out.
Based on what was the rationale for taking it out?
Because that's shift. Remember, I told you a shift from reading. Now it's math.
Mm-hmm. Why can't you have both? I mean, why don't they just have both?
That's the discretion of the principal.
So we should remove. So that should be a policy for the next mayor. They should remove that, or I guess whoever the next school board person is, that should be taken. That discretion should be removed.
But
that's nothing. Go ahead.
It comes out of their budget. So some things are like DC. If they make you have it, they pay. Mm-hmm. But if when they stop paying, the people don't keep it in their budget because now it's out their pocket.
It seems like to me, one of the things we talk about, like parents in Ward 7 and 8 need to start going to school board meetings. Make sure that they're asking for those things. Maybe even you should go to school board meetings, or
I've been.
Make sure that they're making that happen, because I do think that's an issue that should be addressed.
Yeah, I've been to a lot of school board meetings. I agree. However, here's the other rub though, Kevin. When I get there, okay, so they put me in their budget. I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
There's no materials.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're outdated. They're dusty. This is not what we're using now.
That was 20 years ago.
Like, I mean, literally, I was like, "Well, where's this stuff?" And she's like, "Right there," and I'm like, "Are you serious? It's over 30 years. Like, what are you doing?" So then I purchased. Like, it's just, but
So
they have all the.
no. I think that it's one of those things that the policy, the people who oversees the school board. I mean, the voters, I guess, oversee the school board. That is just up to the voters to make sure that they get that right. Have you been to any of the candidate forum? And DC is a bunch of the elections this year. Do you go? Have you and any of your colleagues attended candidate forums, talked to people running for office about these issues? It seems like this is the kind of conversation that should be had with people who might be city council members or ANC members, et cetera.
No, I haven't, because actually I'm not in the classroom in DC anymore, or as a reading specialist. I just do a rise. So,
Do you live in? Do you live in DC?
Mm-mm.
Okay, all right.
No, I live in Maryland. So no, I haven't. But I know that when I called on them to like for literacy night and things like that, they did show up. Farabee, the superintendent, the mayor has come to one of my events, council members, ANC. So they're supportive if you call them. But did I call them during the election year? I don't know, but they came. And I've spoken at the school board to no avail for a personal situation, but I don't see much being done on that front either. I don't know, but if you call in their defense, they have come to my events in their defense. But I have never spoken to the inequity because I'm in the system. It's hard for me to complain about a system. I just made my own way.
Gotcha. This is really interesting. Anything you want to leave us with? We're running out of time. We're about out of time. Is there a place a website or where people can find your information?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. So I'm arise_wellness_yoga. You can see where I am. Every other Sunday, I'm at the Spice Suites, the Black Farmers Market yoga for children as well as families. Like I said, I hope to be in the libraries this summer to bring my program. So yeah, bring back read alouds. Yeah, I agree. And vocabulary is probably this. Yeah.
We have a great audience and the people who care about this.
School improvement planning. Yeah. So, and I'm going to be in the Alexandria library once a month doing family yoga.
Which one?
What's that for the library? I got to get it. I'll send it to you. Let's see what library am I? Let me see. So those are where I am going to be this summer. James M. Duncan Jr. Branch.
Okay.
It's in Alexandria.
Yeah, do you know what street that's
2501 Commonwealth Avenue.
Okay, I know this. Okay. Yeah.
The 30th of every month. I'll be doing family yoga. But yeah, thank you. There's my Instagram. So yeah, follow me. Like I said, I'm doing my best. But anybody who'd like to get on board and help me spread the word about literacy and social emotional learning and bringing that into our schools, I'd love to partner with you.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. We're a big fan, so we're do whatever we can. And I've promised myself that I would do this. Tracy, if you put up my YouTube, so if people would go to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe. She already did. Tracy's so good.
Yeah.
But no, Angela, thank you for taking the time, and this was really insightful. And I'll be bugging you again soon.
Okay, I'm here to help.
Thank you guys. Thank y'all for listening in. Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.